LAPD stalking in a helicopter right now, and Kim Jong, her term in federal prison is directly affected by it because while I'm documenting her engagement in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a demon that was documented at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, group stalking in the parking lot, doing the exact same thing that she knows I documented on video, which is why she was engaged in the same exact criminal pattern of conduct on video, doing the exact thing at 2 o'clock in the afternoon that I captured her doing in the specific environment, which speaks to her real-time knowledge and engagement in federal stalking and group stalking with the demons that are stalking in helicopter. And I'm speaking to in that video that I captured today at 2 o'clock in the afternoon as to what that demon was doing, group stalking me while I'm inside of my apartment while she's being a sex offender, in concert and on behalf of the entity that stalks in helicopters and the people of the state, all of whom who live at Alvarado Gardens, who are going to federal prison, while that which is not the sun remains in alignment with me through my bedroom window, which is impossible to create this so-called sunlight on my bedroom wall and this so-called sunlight that's also appearing on my ceiling, with simultaneity to what I'm documenting about Jong Kim while I'm on my phone inside of my apartment, speaking to what is impossible light and the ongoing maintenance of that which is not even possibly the sun. This has nothing to do with sunlight, never occurring from sunlight, nor is it the sun possibly going to be present 12 hours from where I captured it in alignment to the same apartment, the living room window. That's relevant to who's going to federal prison, and that's Kim Jong, in concert with everybody else, the people of the state, and at Alvarado Gardens. So I want to show you this because it's not a distraction, and then I'm going to complete capturing. This is the fake sun that's seen through the windshields at the same property. And Jong Kim was documented group stalking this demon who's from Korea, and she's going her and her son, unless he was born in America. But Jong Kim was given citizenship to live in this country. She's going to be deported back out of this country. She's a terrorist in the same way that Misael is, doing the exact same thing that Jong Kim was doing. And this is the entity that's group stalking with LAPD. And he is happily speaking to the federal judge who's going to prosecute him, that he will happily go to federal prison. And that's exactly where that animal belongs. He's a violent sex offender, walking by the direct evidence regarding what he's doing, the exact same thing that Jong Kim was doing, a demon stalking under a fake sun, while that light source is nowhere near, by the way, Chino, California, where I'm at this time, the same exact day at the same time, speaking to what is impossible under all circumstances. These demons are pacing, walking in opposite directions in the parking lot, group stalking someone else, speaking to the psychosis of the demon-possessed population who are group stalking, okay? These demons are from the same household, and their mother is a documented group stalker and sex offender as well. Julia Alvarez Lopez, all three of them are going to federal prison. These are families that are demon possessed, engaging in terrorism with the corrupt government. They are in the shoes of the corrupt government, and they are going to federal prison. Jim is that demon Jong Kim, who's I'm going to capture in a screen recording, and the entity stalking and terrorizing me in helicopter and terrorizing through the demon possessed population who are all together engaged in federal stalking, knowing what I'm reviewing on my phone, repeating that criminal pattern of conduct with simultaneity to my review of the evidence, which is serving to enhance their time in federal prison, which is suggesting to the federal judge that that's exactly where they want to go. That's where terrorists belong. And they're in every way demonstrating their worthiness of it. Dominic Choi doesn't have any hope in with regard to the exposure of the Los Angeles Police Department. He is permanently removed from law enforcement, and his position, his corrupt leadership are why demons are stalking in helicopters. And that's exactly what they are, and that's exactly what they're doing. Group stalking with demons that are monitoring me inside of my apartment, where this has nothing to do with sunlight. Ever. You're looking at a shadow that's appearing beneath and below, and you're also looking at what is a light source that is present while I am inside of the same apartment where I was this morning. And these are demons that are pacing all along. And this afternoon at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Jong Kim was group stalking, just like you see Misael and his sister doing. Demons that are pacing in relevant position in engineered light under a fake sun that was over my head at 2 o'clock in the afternoon while I'm inside of the same apartment. And you could see it through the windshields of the demons who are parked at that end of the parking lot. And you could still see it through the windshields of the demons that are parked at this end of the parking lot. That demon is just driving on. Let me be clear. The impunity that the population exhibits. That demon is crossing paths, walking up Alvarado. That demon was crossing paths, driving onto the property. They're all adding onto the impunity, which is going to be directly relevant to Misael's time in federal prison, to Misael's sister's time in federal prison, to Jong Kim's time in federal prison. All of this property, all 59 units are engaged in ongoing terrorism, as a team while the demons are stalking in helicopter, which is why I started this video, because I am enhancing, I am speaking to, and in other words, I am providing the evidence that will enhance the time in federal prison for the terrorists who are the people of the state living at a crime scene, providing an intolerable level of facilitation to a corrupt government that's engaging in a sex offense. Monitoring, surveillance inside of a private space shall be the government's prosecution for a sex offense. And the people of the state are violent sex offenders who are group stalking. They're also engaged in what is documented workplace terrorism. This same light source remaining over me all day long during the workday. The entity group stalking in the same manner this morning while the fake sun was in alignment, and Silver Lake Adult Day Healthcare. Group stalking in the same exact environment. Demons that are knowledgeable about what's being documented about them, and then they are exhibiting their worthiness of being in cages, engaging in it again in concert with the demons that are stalking, sitting back the whole time in a helicopter, engaging in knee-jerk behavior, immediately sounding hell. Her time in federal prison, and all the rest of the people of the state that live at Alvarado Gardens who are going to federal prison, that's directly relevant to that. So I want to make sure I speak to who's being documented and who is the entities threatening my life while I'm documenting that third party, because that's the entity's pattern of conduct. And they are all engaging in that in what is an unnatural. There's no sunlight that's going to appear on my ceiling while I'm capturing the light source in a line side of a third party's vehicle coming from Chino, California, where the fake sun remained over the Chino branch library, where the entity maintained the light source for the duration of the day. And I'm showing you what is impossible, that the sun, first of all, remains over any one person for the duration of the day as you stay at one address. In addition to that, it's not doing so at two distinct locations, two different regions. And what is also occurring, the fact that this has nothing to do with sunlight, and the entity is stalking in helicopters. That's the pattern of conduct by the state, who are engaging in surveillance with the people of the state who are directly speaking to their time in federal prison. Jong Kim doesn't have anything to stand on either in federal state. This ongoing impunity. The light source you can see through the windshield of that demon that's crossing path, monitoring me, being a sex offender with impunity, what the federal judge is going to recall at federal prosecution. Engaging in what is impossible, that the sun is going to be at any position to be seen over that demon's windshield. While the demons are stalking and monitoring on the venue of the internet, sounding helicopter activity, which is communication of a threat in the specific environment. And doing so with an ongoing documented pattern, knowledge about what's being documented. So I want to be clear, looking at all of this engineered light. None of this is sunlight that's appearing both outside and also inside. These demons are pacing out just like Misael and his sister. These demons are in vehicles, pacing and remaining present in relevant position, stationary presence. And let me be clear, they're all going to federal prison. You can look at the fake sun that's remaining over the windshield. This impunity is exhibited as on the part of the entire entity, including the demons that represent the LAPD. They're a terrorist organization. They're engaging in what is demonic system of group stalking with the people who are a demon-possessed population, and their demon possession is exhibited through their psychotic behavioral patterns. And you're looking at the engineer light that's on the outside of the buildings. I'm building 1802, and this is the light source that's seen in a position over me in alignment to my bedroom window. And this is where I'm capturing the sunset in alignment to me in the morning. The entire property is Superview Townhomes is group stalking. The entire population is group stalking, driving up and down driving up and down Alvarado, and the demons are pacing in and out of this entrance in alignment to me. That's exactly what Joan Kim was doing, standing on the sidewalk. They're doing the same thing in an ongoing manner, pacing back and forth. That's a demon. That's what Center for Better Life was doing while the fake sun was over me at this apartment complex. That demon was walking around that van pacing, and that's what a demon is doing in a vehicle, and that's what they're doing on an ongoing basis. Christopher Ahn is a demon, a sex offender, him and his parents, who are going to be deported out of this country, and the impunity that's exhibited while they engage in that criminal pattern of conduct is plain on its face. All right, the entity is doing so on an ongoing basis at 7:07 p.m., documenting the light source in alignment to me at 7 o'clock in the morning, 6:45 in the morning. That's P.O.C, and that's the conclusive. This is revealing demon possession and malice. And this is, let me be clear, another third party coming out and pacing is attributed to Joan Kim as well. They're the same entity. But I want to be clear, the entity engages in this conduct while I'm documenting Joan Kim specifically. That was the demon that stood at the sidewalk, shaking shaking the rag that covers her vehicle, and she did so at this hour, and she was doing the exact same thing, which is not a coincidence in the environment. These are demons that are aware of what I'm looking at and what I'm documenting, and then they engage in the demons repeat what they know is exposed about them. They repeat that. So you're removing the minor children from the possession of the people of the state. You're removing them from the medical profession. I want to take back, that's not Christopher, that's not the specific demon, Christopher Ahn. This is another demon that's on the grounds, group stalking with the people of the state. But I want to be clear, he is done with the medical field and he is demon possessed, but this is not specifically Christopher Ahn. All they're doing is maintaining presence, and if you look as they're walking to their cars, walking back and forth, they're pacing. These are demons. And they're doing so, let me be clear, repeating exactly what Joan Kim was doing, maintaining presence, and it's criminal, while the entity is stalking in a helicopter right now. And as I started this video, the entity immediately begins stalking in helicopter, which is not a distraction. I'm going to capture the screen recording so that you see what Joan Kim was doing, both at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and what is now, it's currently 7:08, and you're looking at what is the maintenance of that light source, which is not the sun. And so you'll know what this demon from Korea is engaging in the United States, engaging in terrorism with a corrupt government. In the same way that these demons who are group stalking with the same government, who's stalking right now in relevant position in helicopters, and they're pacing all around in engineer light on behalf, walking up Alvarado, driving off and on and off of the property, and maintaining presence, just stalking, engaging in surveillance by sitting in perfect alignment with me in the driveway of the property right here. That's what Joan Kim is doing, a demon that's standing on their 2 feet on the sidewalk, shaking a blanket. They're doing the same thing by sitting in the parkway in alignment to me, group stalking. That's what group stalking is. And the unnatural environment, and their psychopaths who are listening to me document them. Let me be clear. While demons such as Silver Lake Adult Day Healthcare engage in that, I'm going to prosecute plus drain the pockets. While demons such as Access of LA County engage in that, I'm going to prosecute plus drain the pockets. And they're going to federal prison, those that do it in sync with LAPD, and that includes this entire property. They're all going to federal prison, and I'm going to drain the pockets of speaker companies. Demons come onto the property grounds to engage in monitoring with the demons that live here, and they're in ongoing state terrorism, which is speaking to what is terrorism that's underway by the entire population who share a condition. Under a sun, all right, an alleged sun that remains at one address for 12 plus hours, that is somehow over the Chino Branch Library at the same time today, which is already on the record. This is speaking to real-time knowledge. That's federal stalking in violation of Title 18, coming onto the grounds and helping the people of the state that live at Alvarado Gardens, which is group stalking in concert with the state. It's directly relevant to the time in federal prison, and I want to specifically identify Joan Kim, because that's the demon who is going to be facing more time in federal prison while the entity engages in an act of terrorism by stalking in a helicopter. That's what the entity is doing, and it's directly relevant to how long she and the rest of the people of the state are going to federal prison. Pay attention to the screen recording that I'm going to capture right now, because this is what the entity is monitoring on my phone while it begins threatening my life, stalking in a helicopter to communicate a threat and also participate directly in the elements of monitoring. Audible activity in engineer light under a light source that's present for 12 plus hours, which is telling on everybody that lives at this property engaged in the pattern of conduct, which is what the entire state is engaging in, which Dominic Choi, a demon-possessed group stalker, whose corrupt leadership is resulting in the demon possession and group stalking criminal activity, that is, by a corrupt terrorist organization, not a law enforcement agency. And this is exactly what the LA Sheriff's Department is engaged in as well, group stalking, and they're documented group stalkers. Okay, it is currently 7:11 p.m. and this is P.O.C. This is documentation of a sex offense. It's violation of quiet enjoyment, and it's a long documented pattern of conduct. The entity is speaking to what is a whole population is doing, focusing on me, engaging in a sex offense as one, engaging in state surveillance, both on communication devices. This is what speaker companies is doing, aware of everything that I'm documenting, sending text messages, like telling on each other. All right, while I'm documenting the people of the state, that's not a distraction from the people of the state. They represent the people of the state whose pockets I'm going to drain speaker companies, but they're all also going to federal prison, and it's directly relevant because they're all engaging in federal stalking and group stalking together in a clown-like circus environment. This is engineer light all over. None of it's the sunlight. You have engineer light that's appearing on the outside of the building and also on the inside. This has nothing to do with sunlight. It's demonic on its face. And this is speaking to a pattern of conduct that the entity engages in with impunity. Silver Lake is engaging in ongoing documented impunity, driving an engineer light, participating, doing their part to maintain the elements of monitoring, which is going to be documentation for the prosecution of that whole property, all 35 units engaged in it. That's why you have the center of the universe based on where I'm at, where the sun is remaining for the duration of the day. That's what I mean when I use the term center of the universe. That is only around the demon possessed who are group stalking you. It is again 7:12 p.m. and this is P.O.C.